Hello, this is Mark Hilliard from Beyond 20. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about auto-population of fields and calculation of fields, how they differ, and when you might use one versus the other. Auto-population is very common in Cherwell. We use it a lot of the time when we need to either fill a hidden field or some sort of related field within a record. We see this very commonly in objects like incident, where we want to fill in the customer's ID once we actually choose a name, so that we have that rec ID or that unique identifier populated within the record, and we can then use it for relationship purposes. Additionally, say for incident again, we want to populate the user's manager information when we pick the owner of a ticket. Calculation is done more based on field values, and we don't use these as often, but they are very powerful. So let's take a look real quickly at how auto-population works. You can certainly do this in the incident object. There are plenty of auto-populated fields. One of the more common ones you'll see, again, as I had mentioned earlier, I'll go ahead and sort this up, is the customer identification and the customer's display name. You'll see both of those are auto-filled fields. If we take a look at the customer ID and we go look at the auto-population properties, you can see when there's a change in the customer display name, we're actually going to pull the record ID from the customer lookup table. Now, one of the things that is limiting about auto-population here, of course, is we have no idea what that customer display name is changing to. So if what we're trying to populate is going to be based on an actual value, auto-population isn't probably going to work for us. If I want to, populate another field when the customer display name changes to Bob Jones, well, I don't really have a way of doing that with auto-population. I can only say that the customer display name has changed, and now I'm going to do something with this field based on that change in the record, not on the value that it changes to or from. When we start talking about calculation, we're talking about basing a value in a field on the value of another field, or an actual calculated value we may have to do using dates or numbers or even other true and false complex expressions throughout the system. One of the more interesting places that we do this in incident by default is with a field that is very, very little used, called created during. Now what this field basically does is it actually tells you what calendar was used, or what business hours calendar specifically was used when we created the incident or created the record. So if it was created during normal business hours, then the 8 to 5 Monday through Friday calendar was used. And we can take a look at that calculated field. I'm simply going to its properties. This is where calculations take place. We'll go expand that out, and you'll see there's an expression that we're using to calculate when the record was created. They use a case statement here. What you're basically seeing are multiple cases. So this first custom expression, if the created date time is valid for the working hours only on weekends, then we're going to assign the value only on weekends. Similarly, if it falls within the maintenance window, we're going to assign the value maintenance window. And if it was 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, then 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. This can be helpful if you want to know, hey, was this incident created during my normal business hours? Maybe this is something you want to report on. How many incidents are created during normal business hours versus after hours, or versus the weekends? Or, how many changes are actually being performed outside of the actual acceptable maintenance calendar? Those sorts of things. But at the core of this is what we're doing is we're actually calculating this based on the actual value of something. So we're saying that if the date falls within this particular calendar, then we're going to put this value in, rather than just stating that, okay, when the created date time changes, we're going to do something. We want to know what the created date time value means, and then we can actually come up with a value based on that definition. I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you explore the auto-population versus calculation fields in calculation properties in Cherwell. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to us at www.beyond20.com. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beyond 20 LLC. Thank you.